Welcome to the webinar. My name is Brian. I am one of the trainers for SmartMLS, and we're here for SmartMLS Tax. This is an overview program, or an overview webinar of the whole program. And basically, what it is, SmartMLS Tax, that is our in-house tax program, of course. It contains all of the property tax, the public record information for all of the 169 municipalities in Connecticut. We have the entire state's tax records here in it. So you're covered. Um, you can get into it a number of ways. I'm going to show you each of the ways, the places you can go to get into it. It's not just from this dashboard alone. There's other ways to get into the program. Makes it more convenient for you. And the objectives here is that you're going to know how to navigate. We got to get you in there and show you how to navigate through the program, through the reports, and you'll know how to do what's called prospecting. You're going to be looking for listings. Everybody wants a listing. There's not enough listings. So you want to find properties that you can list. How do you do that? Well, you go into prospecting. It'll help you. We'll go through a little bit of CMAs, not an entire detailed view of it, but I'll show you where the CMAs are and basically how to get one started, at least get going with it. And we'll show you advanced searching for properties. Believe it or not, yeah, there's advanced property searches. And we'll show you the map. We'll show you how to get around in the map a little bit there. So without further ado, let's get going. First of all, how do you get into the program? There's a few ways. I'm going to show you all of them. First, you have SmartMLS Tax here on the dashboard. You click that, and it opens up right straight into a search. Very convenient. I'll close this. Another way to get into it is from Connect. You're in Connect. You look down to your Tools, Resources, and Links widget, and there it is again, SmartMLS Tax. And if I click it, it's the same thing you just saw. So it's another way. Also, on the upper right of the dashboard here, you see the Tools icon. Click that, and it's the same thing as what you saw in the widget. So there's SmartMLS Tax. It's also available on the mobile, okay, the SmartMLS app. It's available in there as well. Okay, so basically you'll see the Tools, Resources, and Links widget there as well, and you can hit it. If you're in a listing, if you're looking at a listing, I'll just grab one here. You can go to additional info here, and you'll see tax record. You'll also see Smart Tax CMA and CRS Quick CMA, two types of CMAs that this program can do. CRS is the vendor. Okay, so this is effectively the same thing as Smart Tax Quick CMA, but CRS is a little shorter. So again, remember that's the vendor, so it's the same program. Okay, and you can look at the tax record. Click that, and it opens up a new window, and you're into the tax record for this listing, the property tax record. Okay, and you can go through it. And we'll be showing you more details, but there's how you can get into it. A number of ways, very convenient, right there for you. I'm going to go back to the dashboard here, and I'll click on Smart Tax here, SmartMLS Tax here, and it opens up. Now, the first thing I want to mention to you is that you're going to want to set it up a little bit for yourself. You'll notice I have my photo up here, name, all that. You're going to want to get yourself set up the same way. So you go to the upper right here, and you have settings. You click on that, and it starts off in branding preferences, and you can see there's branding right there. So you can upload your photo, and you can check your name. Some of this stuff will insert for you. Make sure it's all okay, and anything that's missing, fill it in, and then hit the save. Now you have your branding set. There are a number of other things you can set for defaults and information. Your email address, for example. Put your email address in there and save it. Default county search. This does require you to enter the county of the properties you're searching. It does Connecticut, no other states. So you'll have all the Connecticut counties in here. And mine is set that it's going to automatically open on New Haven County, but you can click into here. You can change that to a different default county. And you can have up to four. So I could actually add another county. I could add two more to this and set that as the default. I can remove a county, okay? And then hit save, of course, and now you have your default counties. There's others. There's search settings that you can do. It opens on the simple search. You could open it on an advanced or a map search instead. You'll see what those are later, and so on. Directions, save criteria, things like that. All of these things here, you can go in and set your defaults. And then you can go back home right here on the upper left, and we're back here to the home page. Now, you've got all the defaults. You notice there's the county. Okay, so we're set with that. Now, you want to start searching for a property. So we've got the county, and you can select your city. And you get a list of the cities in New Haven. And I want Milford. Type Mill, and there it is, Milford. Saved results over here to the right, that would be, I can do a search and I can save the results of that search. If I'm looking on a street or a neighborhood or something like that, I can save it and just go right back to it at any time. Here you can, the normal search, you can look for the owner name, the address, parcel number, MLS number, and so on. You have all of these options to look for a tax record. So you can use an MLS number to search for a tax record. That might be helpful for you. I'm going to put in a street, but I'll show you a few things that happen here. It's going to bring up suggestions for you. So the street name is Buckingham Place. So let me put it in without a street number just to show you what happens. B-U-C. And it gives me suggestions. So here we see owner's name. So here's all the owner's name that start with BUC, and here's street addresses. And I can come over here and click view more and get a longer list. But as I type the word, it narrows it down. See, it's narrowed it down to Buckingham. That's all it's left. Now this one has a street number, so I'll show you that too. So it's 37. No, I'm sorry. 42. And it goes right straight to it because that's the only 42 Buckingham anything in Milford. So there's the street. So I'll click on it and it goes right to it. So here's a property report. Here we are. And a few things to talk about here. First of all, you'll notice the photo. It will import the photo from the last listing. You know, whatever the last listing was, there's your photo. That's kind of nice to have a photo there. This one's quite old, of course. The listing is very old, but it's still good to have a photograph there. To the right, you see a plot map. So there's the dimensions. Okay, right there. And we'll go back and talk more about that in a bit because you can see you have larger map and so on. We'll go back to that. You scroll down, here's your location, and here's your data, you know, property summary, owner, okay, general information, and there's the ID. So there's the parcel number. So you may find yourself, especially when you're entering a new listing, you may want to search for the parcel ID, the tax record number in our system. Remember that our parcel number, our tax ID, is not the same as the town's. So do not look at the field card and try to find the property using that number. It won't work. Okay, our numbers are internal. They're exclusively SmartMLS numbers. So here's where you can find it, right here. Going further down, various information, tax assessments. The tax year, we go back pretty far. Okay, we show you the city and total taxes. Mortgage history, lien histories and foreclosures, if there were any. And the building, okay, lot. Power production. This property, this house has solar panels. So here you are. It's a photovoltaic solar panels. That's what they has. And here's the size, the annual kilowatt hours, the year of installation, and so on. So here's the information on the solar panels on this property. So that's kind of nice to see, nice to have. Then you have FEMA flood zones. This is in a minimal risk area, but it is some risk. So you'll see here, we've got the FEMA information. Now, if this were in an area that has no risk of flooding, all right, there's nothing, then you won't even see this at all. It won't even be here. Okay, so if you're ever going through property information and you don't see FEMA flood zones, that's because there's zero risk. Okay, so, or as close to it as possible. So you can come over here and click this firm panel, and that'll bring you right into FEMA. It opens up a separate tab and takes you right into FEMA, and you can see the FEMA flood map. And then we can close that tab. Back to here, and then here's a listing archive. So these are previous listings for this property. Starts with 1996. So SmartMLS tax records go back very far. Okay, or rather listing records, excuse me, tax records. The listing records go back very far. Okay, so that could be helpful to you at some point. But it's convenient to have them right here. Now, if you're looking at this tax record and you see that something is incorrect, something's wrong, whatever it might be, it might have the wrong number of bedrooms in the tax record here. It might have, the wrong number of bathrooms, or the square footage might be off. Okay, things like that. What you need to do, look at that field card and compare. So if the town's tax records are incorrect and this has the same information, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing anyone can do about that except the town. So remember, if the town's tax records are wrong, we can't do anything. Don't even bother calling us. You need to go to the owner and have the owner contact the town and ask the town to correct their tax information. Okay, so that's the first thing. But let's say that the tax records are correct, but we are wrong. The tax record in here, the data is off, right? What do? Okay, scroll down to the bottom here, go a little further down, and you'll see here you have report data issue. You can do this without calling SmartMLS. You can do this on a Sunday night or something if it comes up. So you click report data issue down here. And then what's wrong? Is the information incorrect? Maybe it's missing entirely, or there's a broken link to something. Okay, anything like this. Click on what's wrong, the basic overview of what's wrong, and then your name, phone, email. Down here, explain the problem in detail, and they're serious. Please explain it in detail. They get reports saying it's wrong. What's wrong? This is an enormous amount of information, and it's wrong. What is? And that actually does happen for real. So narrow it down. Say incorrect number of bathrooms. There are 3. This town's tax records has 3. This has 2. That kind of thing. Really point it out. And then down here, you click submit. That will go to the vendor. Okay. A copy will also go to our tax liaison, the SmartMLS tax liaison. She will get it, and you will be contacted by them or us, confirming that we received the report and we're going to look into it. Now, this could take as long as 2 weeks to fix, literally 2 weeks, possibly, to fix it. So I recommend, to your personal recommendation that I give you, and I'm going to go back to the property search here. Oops, wrong thing. I'm going to go back. Here's the property search. What I recommend you do when you have when you're going to list a property, you have not listed it yet, you have not published it yet, but you're pretty sure you're going to get that contract, or maybe you just signed it or something, whatever. But before you publish it, the longer before the better, go into this tax program, look up the property, and check the data. Make sure that everything is accurate. If it's inaccurate, even though you haven't even listed it yet, even if it's inaccurate, report it. Because as I said, it could take as long as 2 weeks. If you wait until the day you publish it, or until the owner calls you after it's been out there for a week and they tell you it's wrong, that happens, then you're going to call in a panic. You got to get it fixed, got to get it fixed, got to fix it now, got to fix it now. No, can't get fixed now. Could take a day, could take a week, could take 2 weeks. We don't know how long it will take to get it fixed. So again, the earlier you can report it before you publish it, the better, please. Okay, so that's a little tip for you. Okay. Now, further along with this, you'll notice at the top, and it's also at the bottom, there's email. So you can email this record, and you can have it translated into Spanish when you do. You can save it as a PDF, also translated into Spanish. You can print it, and that's a direct print. Okay, so, and you can step through the reports if there's more than one. This is only one, of course, but if I had been looking on the entire street or something, I could go next, previous, and so on. And I can save the report. So this is where you see where I can save this particular address here. Okay. Now on the map here that you're looking at, I'm going to go to the bottom of the map, upload custom image, not going to do that, but view larger map. I can click on that. And when I click view larger map, it gives me exactly that, a larger map. Okay, so now I can search. There's the property right there. And I can drag the map around, drag it around a bit. I can go to the right and I can zoom in and out, top right there. And it's showing me where north is. This is kind of nice. The little orange shows me that north is up, straight up. Okay. So that's a good reminder there. And I can hover over this gear icon. I've got a road view. I can click aerial. So I can get an aerial view. Okay. I can get a bird's eye. I can get a street side. Okay. I have all those options. Let me go back to road. Here, I can play around with dimensions and shading. All right. Things like that. Um, I can draw a shape. So if I want to cover an area with a shape, let's say, for example, I want this whole area here. Okay, this Buckingham Place. I just want to get into this area here. Okay, I can come over here, have the magnifying glass, and I can draw, say, for example, a polygon. I come up here, click, move the mouse, and you can see a line follows me. Get to the end, click, turn, click, turn again here, click, and then go up and click back where I started. And I can include the selection. And 30 results were found. There's 30 results in my little thing here. I can go to the results. I can go to prospecting, which I'll show you later. But I'm not going to do any of that. Okay. I can click on the properties, by the way. Okay, so zoom in a bit. All right, so I have all those options. Excuse me, I have all those options. I can look at parcels, latitudes, longitudes. I can do a distance. So I can click distance, for example. And let me move out a bit here. I can click on one property. This is distance. Click on one property and then move. And let's say I want to see what the distance is to this one right here. Let's say, click it. And it shows me, oops, click it. And it shows me that it's, oh boy, hold on. I keep clicking it. So I got different distances. But let me go back here. Get back to here. Get back to that. Excuse me. I messed that up a bit. But basically, you could see that I can click on get a distance. Okay. I wound up clicking and getting more lines that I didn't want. But I can get a distance, a straight line distance. And of course, if I'm zoomed out, I can go a lot further. So I have all those options. And I can print, email, save, or copy. All right. So I have all these options from the large map. Click these arrows on the left, and here's map layers. So I can look at school information, foreclosures, FEMA flood zones, and so on. Okay. And the subject property, of course, is right here in the middle. But I can click on school information and I can say, okay, I'm looking for middle school zones. And now I roll back out and it shows me the area. So here's West Shore Middle School. That's their area. Harborside Middle School, there's the area, East Shore, and so on. Okay, so and then I can roll this out if I want to. And I can go back to home again. So that's looking at an individual property. And notice recent properties, it's down here, 42 Buckingham Place. Okay. So I can go back and look at properties that I've recently viewed. I can jump right back to them at any time. To the right, we have saved property reports. So I viewed this property, that one I showed you before, you can hit save, and it will save these particular properties over here. Okay, so showing you a bit of the layers. Okay, showing you something with the map layers and some of the filters and so on. So now we see a basic search. Up here, you'll see foreclosure. This is a property search. We can do a foreclosure search. Click that, and here we have foreclosures. And again, I can change the county if I wanted to or add more. And you can search directly for foreclosures, auction date, okay, file date, all right, street information, parcel ID. Okay, so again, I can do a direct foreclosure search. Back to property again. And down here, we have advanced search and map search. So I'll click that. And here we have search by map. So I could actually, and again, you have some of the same icons here. So I could just simply zoom in and out on the map and choose an area like I did before, okay, and search on the map. And I can view the larger map too, if I wish. Below, search by location. We have more than just a parcel ID and a street name and number. Here we have other things you can look for. Okay, you have other location information you can insert here. And search by property value. And of course, these work together. You know, you can put in a street name and then a property value and so on if you wish. So here's property values. Okay. Property characteristics, number of units, acreage, year built. One thing to look at, see here it says improvement type. Open this up. Notice you have 1 through 4 family residence, 1 family residence, 2 family residence, and so on. Apartment building, auto repair, bank. Okay. So you have all of these different things here, different options. Okay. That would be under improvement type, not property type. If you go to property type, what is it? Well, you got agricultural, commercial, conservation, okay, county exempt. This has more to do with the land. All right, so this is property type in here, excuse me, is the land. Improvement type would be including the building, 1 family residence and so on, 9+ unit apartment and so on. Okay, so be aware of that when you're doing your searches. Search by owner and owner profile, absentee owner, owner occupied, and search by listing. You can actually search for the tax records, any listings sold within the past year, okay, any that are sale pending, which would be under contract, right, withdrawn and so on. So you can just simply bring up a group of properties for listings in this status. And you can enter MLS numbers. You can put a comma between them. And in any case, you hit submit. Okay, so, and you can save the criteria. All right, so you can save this as a search, like a saved search in Connect. Okay, so that's an advanced search in this. And I'll go back home again. And now I'll mention a few other things here. First off, there's prospecting. So I'm going to show you this. Now I'm just clicking straight on prospecting. So now I've got to get to the area. So I've got to zoom in and out, zoom in on the map and draw an area and so on. And on the left, here's New Haven County. I could put in a town, right? Something like that I can do, and so on. So I can zoomed into it. There's the county, put in a town, maybe use the shape tools and so on, right? Okay. But there's another thing you can do. I'm going to go back to property search. And I'm going to reopen Buckingham Place. Just click on it, recent properties. I'm just going to click on it. There it is. Now I go to prospecting. And when I do, there it is. The map centers on that property. That's a lot easier. You don't have to drag around a map and zoom in and out and try to find it and all that. You just simply find the property, center the map on it. And now, of course, I can zoom in and out, right? At this point, I don't want everything on the map. And even if I try to zoom in, I'm going to miss stuff or, chop it off or something more than I want. So it's a good idea to use the shape tools. Very good idea to do that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click on draw. And I'm going to draw freehand just to make things easy for myself here. I'm going to do a freehand. And I'm going to start, excuse me, I'm going to start up here. Right. Well, let's say these are Buckingham Avenue instead of Place. Let's just say that. Okay, so I'm going to start here. I'm going to click. Oops, didn't mean to, hold on. Didn't mean to click. Got to hold it down to freehand, right? So I'm going to hold down the mouse button and go down here and then down to this one. Then move up and up here and over and up because I don't want those two. Those two are actually on Buckingham Avenue. I'm just saying, on Buckingham Avenue instead of Buckingham Place. So I've got this one now. All right. So now, by the way, the shadow here, see it just barely moved into that property, so I got it. It barely touched on this one, so I got it. You can see I kept away from the other ones. It's not a big deal. You can remove them. But anyway, I go to the left, and now I'm going to start filtering these. I am looking for, remember, the prospecting is looking for properties to list. I want to list properties on this street. So come to the left here, and now what am I looking for? Well, first of all, who's most likely to list? I don't want to, somebody just moved in last week. I don't want to try and approach them in any way. Well, I mean, really. So better to find people who have owned it and have a mortgage that's long, pretty old, right? They're more likely to list. And do I want to list it? Maybe I'm only interested in single family. Well, probably all I'm going to get here, but just saying, I'm probably only interested in single families. And maybe I'm only interested in properties above a certain value, right? Possibly. Okay, so I can narrow this down. Here we go. Boundaries, school zones. I'm just going to show you a couple of things. I'm not going to go through everything. I'm going to go to ownership duration. Going to go ownership duration. And I'm going to, excuse me. I'm going to select, I'm going to look for properties that are, say the duration is, oh, hold on a second. Bear with me. Pardon me for that. I'm going to look for ownership's duration. So only properties that have been owned for 7 years or more. Now that narrows it down. You can see this one dropped out. Okay, that one dropped off, that one. So now I've narrowed it down. Now, if you look at the upper right, I got 13. Now, what I had in the beginning, by the way, was 21. So I started with 21 properties and then putting in the 7 years, that narrowed it down to 13 right there. And I keep going down below that. And there's total assessed value. Maybe I only want a minimum valuation. Okay. So I'm not going to put everything in, but there's that and property types. And then there's last sales price, flood zone. Maybe I want to skip anything in a flood zone, mortgage age. Perhaps I want only properties where the mortgage is more than, let's say they've been living there for 7 years, but possibly the mortgage is more than, say, 5 years, right? I'm still at 13. Let's go back to seven. Now I'm down to one, right? So there's only one where the mortgage is older than 7 years. All right, so let me get back here and I'll try. Still one. Huh. So not much to do with the mortgage on this street. Didn't expect that. But you see the idea that I can narrow it down to mortgages that are only above a certain amount. An improvement type, perhaps I only want single family residences. I'm down to 12. Okay. So one of these was some sort of multifamily. And improve a style, acreage, vacant land only. That's pretty interesting. Year built. So now I've got it narrowed down, right? Okay, you can see how to go about doing that. You can understand how to do that. Now I've got it narrowed down, and I'm going to want to print mailing labels. So I can come here to the upper right. It says properties found 12. I want all of the properties, so I really don't have to select anything. But if I only wanted, if there was a couple of them I didn't want, then I could go through and select individually. Or I could also click select all, and then just uncheck one of them, for example. Just uncheck one. Now, I want to keep these, right? I don't want that one. I want to keep these. So now I can click keep. If I wanted to remove them, so for example, I only wanted to remove this one, I could click remove. So you can do it either way. I'll click remove here. Okay, so now I'm down to 11. I got it. That's good. So now I can click create labels. And here's the labels information. Basic label printing. I'm sure most of you have done a label print at some point in the past. So skip records, first name. What do I want to display? I want the first name first, right? I want the title. I could check any of these other things if I wanted to. Remove exact duplicates. I can sort it by zip code, address. Address is the owner's address. If it's an absentee owner, I should say, then the mailing label will be set for their address, not the property. Or I could put it for property address, and then it'll go to the property and include or current resident. Further down, I can include custom text if I want to. And then I got three different label types, all Averys, three different Avery label types. And then here, there's my starting point. If I did my last print and I ended on this one, well, now what do I do? Throw the rest of the sheet out? No, I ended on this one. So I'm going to leave it selected right there, and I'm going to start on it. So now I can start on this one. It'll skip right over all these blanks, all these empties, and start printing on that one. I don't waste any label paper. And I can save it as a PDF or a Word document and print it from there. Okay, so that's the labels. And then I can export it too. I could hit export and export the information, and I can edit the fields. I can add or remove information in the spreadsheet that I'm going to export to. Okay. So there's your prospecting. You can go up to 5,000 exports, 5,000 labels or exports, and then you'll have to order more. There's no charge. Just contact us, okay? Contact SmartMLS, and we will order another 5,000 for you, okay? If you ever hit that point. So that's prospecting, right? Pretty simple. And again, you're looking for listings. Who's most likely to list and who do you want to list, right? Which do you want? I'll go back to the property report. So here we are on the property report, and now I'll mention CMAs. Okay, I'll get into that. So here we have comparables. I'll click on that. And there's two types, There's a quick CMA. I don't go through this too heavily, but there's a quick CMA, and here it is. Now let's see what we found. Okay, so there's the address, there's the average cost per square foot, average, and the estimated market price based on the square footage, house price index, and it shows you the Zillow's estimate. Okay, this is included. If you don't want the Zillow's estimate included in this, or if you don't want any of these included in this, whichever ones you do not want, you click the little X and they'll be removed. You can see that it faded out. It won't be included when you publish this, or I can put it back, right? And then I'll get back to these adjustments and calculations just a little bit. But now here we have a map, and this shows the comps, okay, the location of the comps. And then below, here's some data. Okay, so there's sale prices, cost per square foot of the comps. And then as you come down here, you got search parameters. So you see there's improvement types, anything. Okay, so you can open this up and you can say, I only want single families. It's probably all it's going to get anyway. Okay. And scrolling down here, here are the comps, right? Here they are. Here's the subject property. And again, here are the comps. Now you'll notice these with the red tag. That red tag means that they sold, they closed within the Smart MLS within the last year. This one did not sell within the last year. It did not sell through Smart MLS within a year ago. Or this one, okay. So here you are. And here's the legend up here. So green street sign would, yard sign would be for sale. Here's the sold that you were talking about, pending, off market. It'll even show you Liz pending, an auction, expired, and so on. You'll see that when you're going through them. Now here's more on the search parameters. You've got land use, number of bedrooms is plus or minus one. So this will go one bedroom or it'll go up to two bedrooms, right? Or of subject, plus or minus one of the subject. So the subject is three, you're going to get two and four bedroom. And you can narrow that down a little more if you want to. Okay, so you can do exact match only if you want to. Okay, and bathrooms and so on. Acreage, plus or minus 20% of the acreage and square footage and so on. And then here's within distance, 0.75 miles. That's 3/4 of a mile. And looking at the map, maybe we could narrow that down a wee bit. So we could try that. So let's open it up. Let's go down to half a mile and submit that. Let's see what we get. Okay, now doing all of this kind of messed us up a little bit. Didn't work too well. We narrowed it down too much. So again, you can see how easy it is to play with. Okay, so there's your comps. There's, basic report. Now you can do adjustments. I'm not going to go through this. There's another class for that, but I want to show you it's here. I can do home improvement adjustments. So I can add an improvement, maybe there was a room added, to it. How much is that going to add to the value? I can estimate that and put it in. So I can do up to 3 different improvements that increase the value above just pulling the data in from the tax records. And I can also do a market value calculation, or rather not do it, but I can look at it. So here's how the calculation works. It explains it. Okay. So that, and again, I can email it, save it as a PDF, print it. Okay. So we have all these options here. And this is something that's just a plain, see, this is the quick CMA, which would be the CRS CMA that you saw from Connect. Now, if we do a client report, right, put in a client report, this is one that you would normally send your client, typically. So it comes up, we have 11 comps, right? And you can go through and look at them and see if there's any that aren't going to work that you don't want. And you can decrease the range a bit. This uses a slider. put it down to a quarter of a mile, and I still get two properties at a quarter of a mile, And then MLS data, perhaps I'm only looking for ones that sold within the MLS. I don't want any that did not, and so on. Okay, I can look at any of these statuses. And then there's characteristics. And again, bedrooms, 3 bedroom for the subject, plus or minus one. I can narrow it down to exactly three if I want. Bathrooms, square footage, plus or minus 20%. I can change that. Okay, so I can throw in all of these things if I want to narrow it down a bit. Value, last sales price for comps, mind you. This is all for the comps. Location, maybe I only want comps that are on the same street, things like that. And then save criteria. I might set the criteria here, the location, characteristics, and so on, the distance, get all this set, and then I can save the current criteria. I can save those, okay, and reuse them. On the left, over here, you'll see numbers. There's valuations, house price index, average sales. And again, here's the Zillow's estimate. And again, you can remove any of these that you want. And you can add your own suggested property value. Okay, so here's the sales price right here, estimates there. Okay, and you can hit create report. And there you are. You'll create the report for the client or anybody really, but usually this one is for clients. So now we've gone through the property report. We've gone through searching, and here's the property report. Mentioned that, saving, PDF reporting, reporting inaccuracies and so on. We've gone through CMA doing comparables, gone through prospecting. And the last thing I want to mention, not really talk too much about, but mention facts and figures. Okay, so you can area sales detail and so on, area statistics. Demographics is always good. I can click that. So you have demographics, population demographics here. Okay. That's total. And you've got area sales detail report. So now this isn't just on the property. This is separate. So I got to mention that you want to put in where you're looking. It's not going to default to the property itself. It's not going to default to that particular area. So you put it in there. Okay. Directions, school reports, traffic counts, and so on. Okay. Sales trend report, select county, select property type. And here it does default to the property, but I can say select property type. I only want residential. There's the street number. I'm going to look for a radius. I'm going to say 2 miles, right? And hit submit. And so here it is. Here's the area sales trend. Okay. Average, median percent change, and so on. So I have all this information here. So there's your facts and figures. There's more to it, but I mean, that basically shows you what you can get. Now I'm going to go back to the home page. And that's pretty much it for this particular class. So thank you, and we look forward to seeing you again in a future webinar.